Come, spell weavers, reavers, rogues, and men-at-arms, and answer the call of adventure. Pick up your sword, your axe, your spellbook, your bow, your rulebook, and your dice, and join the forces of good in their eternal fight against vile monsters, conspiring min-maxers, horny bards, and blood-soaked murder hobos. Discover the treasure trove of role-playing games here on Rollin Bones. My name is Ryan Howard, and I shall be your guide. Good evening, Boneheads, and welcome back to Rollin Bones with Ryan Howard, where we are making old school young again. I'm your host and king of the Boneheads, Ryan Howard, and I'm flying solo tonight. This is going to be just me talking about something I really actually don't want to talk about. Yeah, big old glass of whiskey tonight, because hey, here's the thing. You guys have seen the title here, and you know what we're about to talk about. We are going to talk about the Power Roll Dice campaign that Big Money Matt Colville, and MCDM that they put up on Backerkit. So, you know, that's what we're looking at tonight. This is going to be kind of a hard subject for me to talk about. I'm going to be very upfront for anyone who's watching this who is unfamiliar with my content or me as a creator, or what I've been working on. You may not know this, but I have recently had to refund my backers for a Kickstarter campaign that I was a part of. So crowdfunding stuff is still very much a source of pain for me right now. I very much, I'm very sensitive to topics related to and in and around crowdfunding. But we're going to be talking about that tonight. But before I get into that, I want to remind everyone, first and foremost, to like, share, and subscribe. That is how you support what we're doing here at Rollin Bones. Let people know what we have going on. And of course, I want to remind everyone you can find me on various social media platforms, including X and Instagram, where I am at Howard_Ryan Gregg. YouTube is Rollin Bones, and Twitch is twitch.tv/RollinBonesRyan. I also post articles semi-regularly on Substack, which is rollinbones.substack.com. That's where you can find some of the thoughts that I have on gaming, some ideas for mechanics that I post, and just other similar things, to what I do here, but maybe a little bit better because I'm a better writer than I am a speaker. Let's be honest here. So yeah, that's that out of the way. So to get back into this topic, I have I'm carrying a lot of pain with me related to crowdfunding. I have a lot of thoughts about crowdfunding, and a lot of thoughts about things that people in the industry do that abuse this this thing we call crowdfunding, this tool that should be a wonderful tool that is so often just kind of like kicked around and treated very poorly. But let's not bury the lead here. Let's actually dig into this product. So let's recap for anyone who's coming into this fresh. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so that you guys can see this. I've done multiple streams on this particular product. Back when I first spoke about it with Crafty Matt and Malachi, Malachi is in chat here tonight. This product was the game with no name, and now it is called Draw Steel. As you can see, it has raised $4.6 million. Back when I first reviewed this Kickstarter, it had raised about $2.5 million. Obviously, there is a late pledge. They call it a pre-order. That's a little misleading. We'll get into that. So we're looking at $4.6 million for this game that was only recently named. And by recently, I mean like a month ago. This thing wrapped up its campaign in January of this year. It is now October. And Colville estimated, if we go down to the risks area here, he estimated that, maybe I'm in the wrong place, but basically he estimated that it would be done by 2025 or by June of 2025. So let me take a look here. See if I can find it. All right, so I can't find it. Not going to waste time trying to look for it. X-Dude. What's in a name? A lot. Or nothing at all. Now I sound like Matt Colville. Anyway. So yeah, this is the product. As you can see, $4.6 million, wildly successful. That blows Shadow Dark completely out of the water. Shadow Dark raised, what, 1.5 million? That's, that was pretty successful. That was huge. Came out of nowhere. No one was expecting that. But, this blew it away. By contrast, a game that I am very fond of, I'm going to go ahead and share this tab instead so that people can see what I'm talking about here. Game I'm very fond of a couple years ago, Deadlands, The Weird West, raised 568,636 dollars out of a $10,000 goal. Again, that's great. Pinnacle makes great products. That's a fantastic, any RPG creator would be very happy to raise that amount of money right there. But Matt Colville blew them all away with the amount of money that he raised. There's a reason why I call him Big Money Matt. So, what does this money get you? Let's take a look. Again, we are still on just the original campaign here. So, go back here, take a look at the pledge levels. $40 gets you the PDF, which is just the rule book. $65 gets you the PDF of the rule book and the monster manual. $70 gets you just the hardcover of the rule book. $125 gets you a gold embossed version of the rule book. $135 gets you both hardcovers, the rule book and the monster manual, and then $250 gets you those two books in their special edition form with a cool slipcase, notably not made of poplar, so cool slipcase, your mileage may vary. By contrast, let's take a look at what you got from Deadlands. So this was the pledge that I made, $125. Got me the whole Deadlands box set, a second box set for an adventure, The Horror at Headstone Hill. I got a set of dice. Keep that in mind. We'll come back to that. Multiple poster maps and multiple little doodad. Basically, they look like revolver cylinders, and they help you count bullets that your character has. They're counters that look like revolver cylinders. They're pretty cool. I should have gotten them down because I knew I was going to talk about this. I should have pulled my box set off the shelf, but I'm not going to do that right now. That's what $125 got me on this. $220 was about the maximum that you could spend on this particular campaign. You got a dice tray, metal dice, and everything that I mentioned. You also got a little Marshall's badge, a metal one that I have sitting around here somewhere. Again, I could go looking for it. That's not what you guys are here to see. So that's what you got in the original Deadlands. Now let's take a look at something that Pinnacle has going on right now, because they've got a new Deadlands-related crowdfunding campaign. This is Night Train 25th Anniversary. So it's the 25th anniversary of Deadlands, and this is Night Train, which was one of the original adventures. John Goff has been on the show before. I love him to death. He's a great dude. Let's take a look at what you can get as part of this. So, you've got your digital and your physical, where you get a box set, and then this Wendigo Tales, they call it a dime novel. Just, Deadland stories. But for $150, you can get Night Train, Wendigo Tales, the Savage Worlds core rulebook, which allows you to run any Savage Worlds game that you want, and the Deadlands Weird West box set that I got from the last campaign. So the Deadlands box set by itself is $100. It's $99.99 on Amazon right now. Savage Worlds core book is probably about $45, I imagine. You might be able to get it on sale. And then, $50. So you're getting a deal on all this bundled together. You are not paying as much as you would if you bought these things separately. The maximum that you could spend on this, if you want everything, $500 gets you Night Train, the core box set, the Savage Worlds core book, the Horror at Headstone Hill box set, the Blood Drive box set, all these map packs that you see down here, the chase deck, everything, the whole kit and caboodle for $500. So that's what Pinnacle is offering. Now, I say all of that, I go through that to say one thing. Matt Colville has decided that $4.6 million is not enough to realize the totality of his vision here. $4.6 million for a game that didn't have a name when it was originally launched. So, what has Big Money Matt done? Let's go ahead and bring this up here. The Draw Steel Power Roll Dice. So, Matt Colville wants to make his own dice. Fine. Lots of people do it. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of people like having custom dice for their games. You will recall, however, that Pinnacle Entertainment Group included a set of 5 dice in their $150 pledge on their Deadlands the Weird West Kickstarter 4 years ago. This thing has already raised an additional $238,000. That's more. That is miles more than what Vic raised for Modern Necessities, what the Basic Expert raised for Makal Heatle, and what Black Lodge Games raised for the Shucked Oyster combined. For this man's double dip into the crowdfunding pool. Now, let's give the devil his due here. What do you get for your money? So, each set comes with a D10 and 2D6. 3 dice. This right here only shows 2 dice. It's possible you might only get 2 dice. Actually, yes. You do only get 2 dice. You get a 20-sided D10, which is a very old-school item. I don't know whose nostalgia he's playing to, but that is a very old-school item. And then you also get a 6-sided D3. So a D3, because this game now uses a D3 and a D10 as well, you now get a D3 with this. I have a D3. I've got it right here. It's a 6-sided D3 that came with my my DCC dice. My DCC dice, I believe, cost me $10. So let's see. Let's see what what you get. So each dice set, according to this, costs $20. $20 for 3 dice. 2 D10s and 1 D3. Unless, of course, you want the Good King Omens box of dice, which gives you every set. And that will cost you, let's see. I believe this will cost you $200, if I'm not mistaken. Now, lest you think all you are getting is dice. No. You see, these dice are emblazoned with the imagery and the names of the iconic characters from Draw Steel. They are named after these iconic characters. Gwyleth, Corva, Sir John of Tor, and Sir Vaticalisax. And if you want the mega pledge, you are Good King Omened. One question. Who the hell are these people? Who? Like, who are these people? I mean, Matt Colville calls them iconic, and I know he's using the term like, these are the paragons of his game. But it's one thing if so say you're Wizards of the Coast, and you slap a picture of Dritz Duwarden on a dice box, and, a set of Chessex dice is like $6. So you slap Dritz Duwarden on a Chessex dice box and say these are Dritz dice, and we'll throw in an extra dice like a black D6, and that's your Gwenhovar dice. Okay, I can see people buying that. It's overpriced for sure. Paying $20 instead of $6 for a set of dice that are colored in a particular way so that they are vaguely reminiscent of a character from a book that you read. If you want to spend your money that way, that's fine. People know who Dritz Duwarden is. Nobody knows who Good King Omened is. At least not yet. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll say not yet. Because what we have here is a Kickstarter campaign or a Backerkit campaign for a peripheral to a game that has not yet been released, a game that doesn't exist. Because make no mistake, yes, there are people who are playtesting it right now. Draw Steel does not exist. Draw Steel is not available for you or me to buy. You can pre-order it and continue handing money over to MCDM, to Big Money Matt, for, I don't know, because now he's raising an additional $200,000 for dice. So I just now looked at chat. I was on a roll there for a second. Malachi, I know who Good King Wenceslas is. Good King Wenceslas looked down on the feast of Stephen. Yes, I love it. But Good King Omond, I don't think there are any Christmas carols about him. I'm sure Matt Colville knows what his world's version of Christmas is called, but, you know, fuck if anyone else knows. So the thing that's so infuriating about this, if you haven't realized already, Matt Colville raised $4.6 million for this thing already. I've already given you an example of one campaign where a fraction of that money was raised and dice were included. Dice were included from the get-go. You got a set of 5 dice, and they're nice dice. They're Chessex quality dice, They're plastic dice. They came free with a book. I didn't back for the dice, I backed for the book. With $4.6 million, why can't Matt Colville just include dice with his game? Why can't Matt Colville just say, hey, you guys have blown us away with your generosity. You have backed this well beyond what we were asking for. When we launched this campaign, we needed $800,000, which as a minimum, that is astronomical for an RPG book. Like, what is this thing made out of? So, we asked you for $800,000 to back this thing, and you gave us $4.6 million and counting. We are blown away by your generosity. That is almost $4 million more than what we asked for. As a thank you to our generous backers, we are now going to include a set of dice of your choice from these available options, depending on the class that you want, with every physical pledge, or, with every deluxe pledge, let's say. And then if you want this, big honking box of all of them, we'll include that as an add-on. Because there are add-ons for this thing. If you look over here, they've got a t-shirt. They've got stickers. You can add on a PDF. You can add on hardcovers. You can add on limited edition hardcovers. So, like, if you wanted multiple copies for your table, you can add them on. Just, drop it in the add-ons. I don't know if you can still do that. Maybe you can't. But, if you want to charge people for this, like, mega box, you stick it here. You're doing this crowdfunding thing again? Like, why? You've already got the money. Where is the $4.6 million? I'm reminded, and this guy's a little cringe. So I'm sorry that I'm bringing this up. Those of you who might, might not like this guy. I understand why. He's a little cringe and annoying, but, sometimes he's hilarious. John Mulaney, stand-up comedian, has a bit in a special Kid Gorgeous at the very end where he's talking about college. And, he starts off by saying, I got a letter from my college, asking me for a donation, asking me for more money. And so he just goes into, I gave you $120,000 in 1999 and you spent it already? And he just started going off. He's like, you're asking me for more money. I gave you $120,000 and it's just gone. It's a great bit. I can't do it justice, and I'm not going to play it on here because I don't want my channel nuked. But, we gave you, Matt Colville, $4.6 million. Well, I say we. I didn't give him anything. I'm not, You guys know how I feel about this. You guys know my opinion of this particular design. We gave you $4.6 million and you just launched a campaign for DICE for a game that doesn't exist? Like, dude, the shocked face in the video, like that's the face of the people who were like, we gave you $4.6 million. What do you mean you can't just, make some dice with that? Like, what are you paying people over there in Colville land? So that's, this is what we know. We know that Matt Colville has been given $4.6 million for Draw Steel, a game which was only just recently named, and a game whose mechanics have changed at least twice since the creation of this campaign. Now that's why there were no dice included in the beginning, because in the beginning of this campaign, Pinnacle Entertainment Group included dice with their particular Kickstarter campaigns in the beginning, because they knew, this is Savage Worlds, it's Suede, we use these particular dice, so we know what dice you need. Here's a set of dice that's branded specifically to this particular setting that you backed. So, they know that they can include the dice. Matt Colville did not know what dice he needed when he launched this campaign. Otherwise, there probably would have been dice. Matt Colville had no idea what this game was when he asked people for $800,000, and they gave him 2.5 million, and then 3 million, and now 4.6 million. Like, and the concept of this is baffling to me. So maybe, now that he has ostensibly put in this custom order, now that he's put in this, this custom order for dice from Chessex, the biggest dice manufacturer in the hobby, we can assume that the dice mechanic is at least locked in now, I guess. Maybe. He might change his mind again. Who knows? He's already done so twice. But where's the money going? Crafty Matt points out, we know where the money went. We can see it on his stream every time he does a hangout and shows off a new synthesizer to make awful music. Yeah. Yes. He also has an office, like a physical office space in Southern California, which is not cheap. He has a whole staff that he's paying as well, which, again, I understand. People cost money, but $4.6 million? Jeff Talanian designed Hyperborea by himself. Jim Wampler designed Mutant Crawl Classics by himself. Now, he was working off of Joe Goodman's DCC mechanics, but yeah, I mean, as Cal points out, both he and Crafty live in Southern California. I don't think either of them have $4.6 million that someone has just given them. But yeah, the only thing I can think of, and this is all pure speculation. I have to say that this is pure speculation on my part. Matt Colville decided very early on with this that he wanted his own proprietary VTT. That is on the MCDM Draw Steel campaign. It was a stretch goal. if we go down to stretch goals and look, the virtual tabletop at $1.5 million, Matt Colville would develop a proprietary virtual tabletop for this game. And he claimed that he had a working prototype for it already ready. He's shown screenshots of it before. We've got some pictures here, so I can go ahead and share this. What I'm seeing here looks no better quality than like premium Roll20. I've seen better looking stuff on Foundry, and as good friend Malachi has pointed out, if you wanted a VTT day one, you make a Foundry module. That's a lot cheaper than making your own goddamn piece of software. So my pet theory is that this right here, this virtual tabletop, is a gigantic money pit. And the only reason why he hasn't cut it loose is because this game's mechanics are so unwieldy and so complicated and so like weird that you have to have a VTT to use the game. The things that he's said that his game has, the chart for every single weapon or ability where you roll and you've got 3 possible results. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. It becomes a lot easier to deal with when you have a VTT. And I think, again, I can only speculate here, I think the feedback that he's getting is this works great on a VTT. This is a pain in the butt to do with pen and paper. So this has become an essential product. This right here. Without this game's dead in the water, like 4th edition. Matt Colville is iterating on 4th edition in every way possible, including making the same mistakes. So yeah. Every time you change your mechanics, stuff like this becomes more complicated, because this is a proprietary virtual tabletop that he's developing here. I think Crafty Matt is going to be joining me here in just a little bit. But yeah, this has to be the albatross hanging around his neck, because it's 2 books. It's 2 books, and let's say they're 400 pages a piece, because I know the core book is 400 pages. So 800 pages. Yeah, it can get expensive, but you've got $4.6 million. All right, so I think Crafty is about ready to join me. Crafty, if you can put something in private chat when you are ready, and I will bring you on. So yeah, it's all right. Looks like Crafty's ready. So welcome, Crafty Matt.
What is going on? Can you hear me? Am I sounding good? Do you need me to turn it up, down? What do you need me to do?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So, just an aside, like, I'm cooking, so
yep.
I'm gonna add my 2 cents when I can.
Okay.
So this is what I think happened, right? I think that we have a video game designer who just happens to be infatuated with tabletop role-playing games, and he wants to somehow make a video role-playing game. And that's honestly what I think it is.
Okay.
Because you wouldn't have your own proprietary VTT if you didn't. Let's look at Free League, right? Free League does Foundry, and there's another one, Spire, I think it is. I forget what the other main VTT that they use. But those are modules, right? Those are modules for Foundry and all that, because Foundry is already working. Okay. The not having a a working model for your game before you go to Kickstarter again makes me, but knowing that you want to have a VTT makes me think, oh, I want to make a video game because I did so well doing that at Turtle Rock Studios.
Yep.
Where every video game that I made failed.
Yeah.
So this is his way of marking his success in some kind of industry.
Yep.
And as far as the dice go, where's the money, Matt?
Yeah.
Show us the money, Matt.
Yeah.
I need to know where the money is, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no way that you could have burned through $4.5 million in a year when what was the original goal?
$800,000.
Okay, so $800,000, right?
Yep.
That is your goal. How much do you think it costs to print a book?
I actually know how much it costs to print a book.
Perfect.
So, like for 800 pages, yeah, he's probably looking at, for the volume, the number of backers that he has, he's probably looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of, I'd say, about $20 per book. So,
okay. So $20. How many backers does he have?
Let's see. Currently, MCDM has 30,000 backers.
Okay, 30,000, right?
Yep.
And some of those pledges are multiple books. So what is the highest pledge and how many books are in the highest pledge?
Highest pledge is $250 for 2 books.
2 books. Okay. So $20. So take 30,000 and multiply it by 40.
You said 20,000?
Yeah, I'm sorry, take $40 multiplied by 30,000, because you got to figure that some of those people aren't going to buy the 2 books.
Yeah, so $1.2 million.
Okay, so $1.2 million. Where's the other $3.5 million, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay, because logistically speaking, you said you only. Oh, okay, hold on, wait. No, let me back up. Right. So that's $1.2 million just to print the books. Yep. $800,000 to say develop the game and the VTT, whatever. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's $2 million. That means you have $1.5 million of just play money. Right?
Yeah.
It's not going to anything. Okay. It's not, because you need $20 per book. If you print 2 books, that's 60,000 books that you need to print. Right?
Yeah.
At $20 a book, as you said, $1.2 million. Are you telling me that in that $1.5 million profit, you couldn't print dice?
Yeah. Apparently.
and not just any dice, just 2 dice, right? Yep. So let's say a box, right? So a really nice printed box. Sure, the cost on that's probably less than $5.
Yeah.
And then the dice themselves, less than $1 for the 2 dice. Okay, so let's say it's $5 a box, right? How many backers do they have right now on the dice side?
Dice side has 1,967 backers.
Okay, so 1,967 multiplied by 5.
Let's see. Take a look here. 1,967 times 5. Just under $10,000. 9.8 thousand.
Okay, so $10,000. Say if we want to really be conservative, let's say it's a really nice box, okay, and it's $15,000. Okay, that's still $1.5 million. That's just that's being super conservative, like super conservative, right?
Yeah.
Like giving way more money to MCDM than I think that I should be. Okay, so it's $1.5 million that's just put in the pocket.
Yeah.
How many employees do they have?
From what I've seen, like 5.
Okay. So five employees. If you split that $1.5 million 5 ways, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's the money, Matt? You couldn't set aside $20,000 for dice?
Yeah, that's
It makes no
$300,000 a person if you split it 5 ways.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
There's no reason why that couldn't be included other than you spent the money.
Mm-hmm.
What he probably did was he probably went, well, I have $3.5 million, $4.5 million. I'm going to upgrade my office space.
Yep.
So he probably leased a new building. Okay. And I deserve a company Prius because that's just the type of person that Matt is. You know, he
Yes.
drives a Prius.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a wonder he could fit into one, but yes.
Oh, I've seen some amazing things. So, and then let's say he leases that, okay, $20,000 car. All right. That's got to be where the money went. The money went to extravagance.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got this money, didn't know what to do with it. Did you notice that immediately after the Kickstarter ended, the production value in his videos skyrocketed astronomically?
Yeah.
And he's got a new, synthesizer toy almost every single week that he's adding on. And it's not just anything. He doesn't just go down to, a music store and just buy it. No, he's looking for like the ancient stuff that has the vacuum tubes on it and stuff like that because it sounds better. Which means that he's buying. It wouldn't be antique yet, but he's buying retro.
Yeah, he's buying vintage.
Vintage. There you go. Right.
Vintage synthesizer equipment,
which has got to be expensive.
Yep.
Okay. And I hate to say this, and I don't want to say that, it is Southern California. It is the games industry. How much of that is going up somebody's nose?
Malachi in chat here says, did he pull a Gary Gygax in California? And when you look into the eyes of one Matthew Colville, and especially when you look into the eyes of James Introcasto, I'm sure there is some kind of company Colombian marching powder budget. There has to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. At the end of the day, a fool and his money are parted. If there are people out there that truly believe that MCDM is going to be the second coming of Gygax, they want to buy the game, and they want to support the dice, that's fair. They can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know where the money went. That's what I want. It's you raised $4.5 million, and now you're opening up another Kickstarter because now you figured out what kind of dice mechanic that you want. And again, he's going the vintage route with the double D10 D20. It's where's the money?
Yeah.
You couldn't use some of that money. Say, Ugh. And 2 dice for $20. Where's the money, Matt?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Where's the money, Matt?
We're talking about MCDM, so of course the Rube signal has been flashed. Buying 3 sets, another 20 trillion to Colville. Rube, could you not think of a better way to use $60? Like maybe setting it on fire?
No, see, that's the thing. If Rube wants to spend $60 for dice, he can. I'm not going to tell you what I just spent to get an aluminum chassis arcade controller because my wife will kill me.
Yep.
Did I need it? No. But do I deserve it? Yeah, sure.
I just had an entire box full of Bone 6 stuff show up at my house the other day. So
Right.
I'm right there with you.
So it's not a matter of you know, do you need it, do you not need it, and everything like that. That's not
Right.
what I'm getting at. You know, it's why launch another Kickstarter when you have probably, according to our estimation, you know, the $1.5 million in just extra money.
Yeah.
Especially if it's only going to cost you a couple of $10,000. Just make the dice and give it to people.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, here's the thank you. Now, what I do say is I say, hey, here's the dice, you know, as a thank you, right?
Yep.
If you want to buy all of the sets, here is where you buy them. You don't need to Kickstart it.
Yep.
You don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something interesting that I want to talk about a little bit. You know, Matt Colville.
Sure. While you're doing that,
yeah,
I have meat I have to brown.
Go for it. So, like Crafty said at the beginning, Matt Colville is, you know, he comes from the game design world. You've heard Gelatinous Rube on here talk about how he is a game designer because he comes from the world of legitimate game designers. But as Crafty pointed out accurately, his resume is somewhat checkered, shall we say. The studios that he was a part of no longer exist. And they share some commonalities in the games that are the reason why they no longer exist. So the two studios that I'm talking about are Pandemic and Turtle Rock. Like Crafty said, Turtle Rock Studios, all of their games were failures. The biggest one was Evolve. Evolve was a game, and I remember distinctly the lead up to Evolve coming out. This game was going to be the second coming of the Messiah. There were so many promises made about Evolve. It wasn't quite No Man's Sky, but you know, close to it. It was the pre-show entertainment before No Man's Sky decided to come out for the main event. And when it was released, it was half-baked. It said that it had, all the reviews were like, it has some great ideas. It doesn't quite stick the landing. And, you know, that seems to be a common thread. You know, he also worked on Mercenaries and Mercenaries 2, both very ambitious games that underachieved based on the promise that they had. I've played both of those games. Beowulf. He was not a designer. He was a writer. And that's another thing to point out. He was not building levels or designing mechanics for this. He was writing the scripts. So,
okay, let's go back. Let's go back to what you were saying about it was almost like No Man's Sky level of hype. So, the big difference between Matt Colville and Sean Murray, right? Sean Murray ate crow on the interview circuit after No Man's Sky completely tanked.
Yep.
Sean Murray has spent the last, when did the game came out in 2016? So 8 years.
Yep.
He has spent the last 8 years making hand over fist updates to improve the game and bring it to, it may not be the game that he imagined it would be, but the improvements that he has put out year over year over year for free will make up for when people first started playing the game and they're like, this isn't what we expected.
Yep.
I would say that Sean Murray has met it right, or has made it right.
Yeah.
The difference is that if Matt Colville was in Sean Murray's shoes, Matt Colville would release the game and then say, we need to kickstart an update. Oh,
Yep.
we need to kickstart an update. Oh, we need to kickstart an update. Hold on, let's kickstart an update, right?
Yep.
MCDM, like it truly has this. I mean, it's gonna be Kickstarter after Kickstarter, right? Because I guarantee you, he's gonna be like, oh yeah, no, we made a VDT, but I'm gonna kickstart it so that we can have 3D assets.
Yep.
So yeah. Anyway, back to it.
Well, yeah, and you have also made this comparison as well in Basic Experts server. But what that sounds to me like is a game that still has not been released. Everyone knows what I'm talking about now. Star Citizen. That's what we're looking down the barrel of right now. And I don't want to. That's a heavy accusation to throw at someone, especially this early on. We are less than a year from the end of this campaign, but that's what it's looking like. You've got another campaign for an expansion to this thing that hasn't, the original thing hasn't been released already. Are we going to be able to buy houses in Draw Steel? I don't know. But yeah, this is, and this gets to kind of where I want to end things tonight. The last point to bring up, this is the core problem, not just with Colville. Colville is merely a symptom of something bigger. There is a huge problem in role-playing games with people not knowing how business should be conducted. Just as a general rule, the ideas of consumer trust and customer service and delivering product in a timely manner and efficient use of budgets and all these things that you learn working at a regular business are not present in role playing almost anywhere. To use my own experience, I am refunding the money for my Kickstarter campaign because it was going to be late, extremely late, later than I wanted it to be. And when I set out to do this thing, one of the things that I said was, I want to be different than everyone else. I want to deliver a product on time to the best of my ability. And that was not happening. So I had to take a step back and change things. This is the opposite of that. This is a man who has been given the keys to the kingdom, all the riches that you could possibly want as a game designer. And instead of taking this core idea that he had and, putting it out there in a timely manner and, using that money efficiently and wisely, and even, throwing in some stuff to sweeten the pot because people were very generous with their money. Instead, he is asking for more. He is giving every signal that he's already burned through this budget. He is burning consumer trust, not just in his product, but in any Kickstarter product moving forward. And this is, the consequences of this will not be seen until we get past 2025. And I fully believe that 2025 will come and go without this thing being released. And as Cal says, next is the miniatures Kickstarter. He's going to see some cool miniatures somewhere online and think, oh, doobly-doo, we need our miniatures. And then he's going to do his 10-minute video about, I've always wanted to have my own miniature line. And, just go into all that stuff about miniatures and do a whole thing. And now announcing the MCDM miniatures, and you are going to get the 5 miniatures for the icons of these classes. and that'll be $500, please. But it might even be like even more ridiculous than that, because this is Matt Colville we're talking about. He's probably going to say, we are going to launch our very own MCDM version of Hero Forge. And maybe that's hyperbolic, but based on what we're seeing here, I don't know. Maybe that's where we're going with all of this. Maybe that's the next Kickstarter campaign. I look at this as someone trying to make a name for himself in the industry. There will come a day in the not too distant future, hopefully within the next 1.5 or 2 years, where I am going to be launching a campaign for something that is the scale of Draw Steel. It will be Project Skeleton, my own system. I'm seeing the way that he has done things, and I'm trying to avoid the mistakes that he is making. I'm not going to ask for money until there's a prototype. I'm also now turning around my old project that is being refunded. I'm retooling it, and I'm going to put that back out there at the beginning of 2025. So I'm someone who is trying to use these tools that Matt Colville is using, and Matt Colville is setting fire to consumer trust, and maybe doesn't even realize it. I honestly, I don't know what the end game is here. Maybe it's just to get as much money as he can and run. And I'm not going to say that this thing will never be released. It'll be released eventually. It won't be what you think it is, and people are going to be upset. But
that's the thing, right? The thing is that I truly believe that Matt Colville thinks that he's going to make a great product. Yeah. I don't think that Matt is setting out to scam people. I don't think he's setting out to just take money. I think that he is an excited geek and nerd that has no idea how to handle money or how to plan a project.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, he's a writer, right? So you have a bunch of creative types that have opened a studio that have no idea what they're doing. Right. As far as a business goes, right? And so that to me is what I see happening, and that to me is what I see going on. And I don't think Matt is being malicious. You know what I'm saying? He's not being malicious in this, but the number one thing that you do when you kickstart something is you don't kickstart a think tank unless you specifically say, or unless you're like, if in University of Texas and your name is Don, right? You don't, you don't kickstart a think tank, right?
Yeah.
When you go to Kickstarter, you have an idea, a solid, concrete idea. Not, hey, I'd really like to make a game. Let's kickstart. That's designer mentality. That's not business mentality.
Right.
And that's I think at the core of all of this, is that this is going to be a lesson in $4.5 million of just marketing, or not bad marketing, but just bad business.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's some of what I was getting at there. Unfortunately, this is industry wide. The RPG industry is an industry where there's one company that is pretty much all suits at this point, making stupid suit decisions. Wizards of the Coast, you all know who I'm talking about. And then everyone else is just creatives that have taken on a business role, and some of them are able to kind of sort of do it halfway, and they're not as successful as they should be. And a lot of them are just kind of starving artists. A lot of them, and this is gonna be a little bit of a low blow, some of you out there, I'm sorry. A lot of them are living off of the income of their significant other, just going from convention to convention, playing with their little miniature figures, and saying that they have a career when really what they're doing is just kind of being burdensome to their loved ones. And that's not the future I want for myself. and and that's not the future I want for anybody. I want people to be able to make money in this business, but you have to be able to actually manage that money in an efficient manner. Otherwise, all you're going to do is stuff like this. You're going to end up like the worst cases of .com Silicon Valley CEOs who were trying to pay their dinner bills with shares of their .com companies that would be worthless in 2 weeks. You're going to end up like the worst version of the id Software guys who were building custom Ferraris and had standing orders at Domino's delivered to their office every single day, and crazy stuff like that. That's that's what it is to be an RPG designer right now. You have like nerds with money is what is going on here, and that is no way to run a sustainable business. All you are going to do, like at best, is be able to tell people of the glory days of yore when you had money. And you'll be saying that from the trailer that you now live in because you burned every business associate and destroyed destroyed all consumer trust in your ability to produce a product. And that's, again, looking at this at someone at the bottom of this little like tower of the elephant that is game design, trying to find my way to the top, seeing all the traps that have gotten people on the way up, and just like, well, I don't want to hit that, don't want to hit that, don't want to hit that. And
imagine,
yeah. Go ahead.
So you mentioned Silicon Valley, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's very apt because there was a show, Silicon Valley, where you had a bunch of nerds who had no business acumen try to open their business and try to market software, and they kind of blew it, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's funny because I don't see Matt. Have you ever seen Silicon Valley?
I haven't.
Okay, so there is a character in Silicon Valley. His name is Russ Hanneman.
Mm.
Russ Hanneman, right? So Russ Hanneman has he has various cars, but he won't have cars where the doors open normally because that's just not what rich guys have, right? He's got to have doors that just open like all weird and everything like that. But Russ Hanneman is also like a super geek, and he's just terrible with money.
Yeah.
Right. And it eventually leads to his downfall because what he does is he creates like this super hologram of himself over at like Burning Man that like stands up super tall and like blows out everything in Burning Man. Right. And then he's left sitting there going, all right, well, you guys handle it. I'm out of here. So that's what I imagine. I imagine that Matt Colville is going to get to a point where he's like, well, I've done everything that I can. You guys handle it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's I'm reminded of a certain episode of Parks and Rec where Jean-Ralphio and why did I just forget Aziz Ansari's character? But they have a startup, and basically that's what they do. They have a toilet, like a plexiglass toilet filled with money, so that they can say they are flush with cash. They're paying an NBA player to just stand there and shoot baskets around them. It's and the the Firefest guys. It's stuff like that. The venture capitalist who was dating Olivia Munn for a little bit and is the reason why we got that god awful G4 revival. Who built his office to look like the throne room from Return of the Jedi. Maybe Matt Colville has his own little Return of the Jedi office or something like that. He's got his Crafty already said he's got his vintage synthesizers because he's a Rush and Styx mark and wants to be able to play Farewell to Kings on his synthesizer with the the same equipment that Getty and Alex were using in 1976 to make that music, and not realizing it sounds like crap, or maybe realizing but not caring because
but even if it sounds good, even if it does sound good, it's you raised this money, so why are you doing this over there?
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it comes down to is, where's the money, Matt?
Yeah.
The whole, where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Matt? It's all we need to know. Where'd the money go? Because why do you need another Kickstarter when you have more than enough profits from your previous one to basically make whatever it is that you want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So what have we learned today? Apparently Darkside Phil is Matt Colville's accountant. The money's gone, I guess. And at this point, it's just kind of a wait and see game. Matt Colville probably not going to see this. If he does, Matt, I encourage you to be transparent with people and tell them how their money is being spent in development. You have made quite the show of developing this game publicly. So in the spirit of public development of this game, why not tell us where certain money is being allocated towards? That would be, that'd be a nice step, be a nice gesture. Also explain why you decided to launch a separate campaign for the dice when, by all metrics, you can afford to just add dice to your campaign that is wildly successful. I watched that video start to finish, and there was no explanation. Just, here's the next Kickstarter. It's for dice for this game that doesn't exist.
And if you're not willing to do...
Oh, sorry, go
ahead.
And
then tell us whether or not you're going to have a Kickstarter down the line for miniatures.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? We're going to have ultimate dungeon terrain. I really liked what the Dwarven Forge guys did, and I really think that I can do that too. So we're going to make, not only we're going to make, ultimate dungeon terrain, we're going to make terrain pieces as well. And what we're going to do is every piece of terrain that you back have a code on it that you can put into our VTT so that you can see our terrain in virtual reality.
Yep. Doobly-doo. Raise voice, lower voice. Misplaced Dune reference. Some kind of 80s pop culture shit in there. I don't know, yeah. Well, unfortunately, what Crafty just said is a very, very distinct possibility. So yeah, that's where we're leaving this. I hate that this is happening. I hate everything about this right now. Matt Colville is someone who I looked up to when I first started playing games, because what did I know? I'd never even opened a D&D book until I bought my 5th edition Player's Handbook. This dude was making videos, and he had a Rush t-shirt on, and that was enough for me when I was 20. So yeah, safe to say, all my respect for the man's kind of gone at this point. We have not seen how far he has to fall just yet, but I imagine pretty goddamn far. $4.6 million is a lot of money. To not deliver what was promised would be bad. To deliver something below expectations would also be bad. Yeah, I don't see this ending well, because the best case scenario is this is like the D&D killer. This is the, it's everything that everyone said it would be, and I just don't see that happening.
So I think what I'm going to leave it on is my own Kickstarter horror story, but from the side of a consumer. And that is the Darkest Dungeon board game. Okay. The Darkest Dungeon board game by Mythic Games, in conjunction with Red Hook Studio, was one of the most successful board game Kickstarters up to its point.
Yeah.
I waited 3 years, and they said that, I backed it at the highest tier, where they were going to paint the miniatures for me and all of that kind of stuff, because I'm a terrible miniatures painter. So they were going to do it for me, right? That's not the part of the hobby I want to be in. I just want to play the game. 3 years into it, they tell us, okay, well, the game is done, but we ran out of money. So we can't ship it to you. So we need you to open your wallets and pay for shipping again. I did. Okay. Another year goes by. Where's the game? Well, we ran out of money, and we're going to have you open up your wallet, because the games are actually sitting on some Chinese some Chinese warehouse somewhere, but they'll get to you. Okay, so I opened up my wallet again, and I paid for the shipping, because I really wanted this game. I wanted it, right? So I got half my game. I got half of what I pledged. When talking to them, they said, okay, well, we kind of ran out of money, and we're gonna need you to open up your wallet again, and we're gonna need you to pay so that we can ship you the rest of the game. And I went, yeah, not this time. So they said, well, then we're going to ship out everybody else's game, and once we get all the money from that, then we'll go ahead and we'll ship out the rest of your game. Okay. I said, okay. So a year later, it's now a year later or more. I've seen the Darkest Dungeon on sale on Amazon. I've seen it on sale at various board game shops and all of that. People who paid that extra money to finally have the second half of their game ship haven't heard from Mythic Games. They have gone radio silent, completely radio silent. People are saying, well, we need to get a refund for this. There's no way to contact Mythic Games. And in the time, and that's the big thing, in the time that Mythic opened up the Kickstarter for the Darkest Dungeon, they opened up other Kickstarters for other games, and that's where the Darkest Dungeon money went, was to develop the other games, and then they ran out of money.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen here. That's exactly what's going to happen here, because you don't start another Kickstarter until you're done with the previous one. So that's my story. That's what happened to me. And that's why when I go to Kickstarter now, the game has to be done. Yep. And all I'm paying for is printing and maybe art.
Yep.
With that said, I see it's 7:15 my time. So I'm sure you're wrapping up.
Yep, and that's as good a place as any to end it, because unfortunately, it's not just Crafty in that scenario. Lots of people, like you said, got got railroaded by Mythic Games. Mythic Games is also not the only company to have done something like that. There's a million examples out there. So yeah, like, hey, I've seen this one before. You know, that's where we are at this point. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'd say this has been fun. It's been fun talking to my loyal viewers and to have Crafty on here for a little bit. He and I might be doing something at some point in the future somewhere else. I'll keep you guys posted on that. But in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't know what I'm going to do next week. I will let you guys know. I might do another skeleton episode, just talking through some of the mechanical ideas that I'm working on with Project Skeleton. So that might be the topic for next week. I might do something else. We'll see if anyone wants to, come on or have a conversation, or, if we just want to do skeleton stuff again. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, whether you rolled a 1 or a 20, I'm so glad that you rolled your bones with me, Ryan Howard, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good night.